record here. All right, so now I'm good. It's hitting record on mine. Okay. And kind of take everybody through all of those things. So if you don't have a senior, you're more than welcome to hear about prom. You can hang out. We'll be here afterwards. This shouldn't be too long of a presentation, but we're literally going to go through all of the information that we have, and everything that we're going to share detail-wise will be uploaded on the website in a very specific senior-only page that will go live right after spring break. Okay, you don't have to do anything from the point that we're doing this recording on March 8th until after spring break. I promise you, you'll get a seat at graduation. We've already got people calling about that. It'll be all good. And we'll kind of describe how all of this stuff is going to work. The great thing about this senior class is they get a normal, regular end of their senior year in every way, shape, and form. So super pumped about that too, okay? Okay, so now, there we go. Now I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Edwards, our Associate Principal for Student Experiences.
How's it going? So yeah, these are all the student experiences your seniors get to deal with after we come back from spring break. So there are quite a few. This is the overview of the events. I will go through each one, but you can kind of just see how the month of May really flows, and there's like quite a bit of action going on in that little time period. So for all of you taking your pictures, this is great. You're gonna get this again, each slide that we go through here. So go ahead and get it if you need it. I know how you feel about that. All right. First thing is Great America Grad Night. So this is probably the one that's like the most exciting to me because I haven't been to Great America in years. But it is an overnight trip, May 14th into the morning of May 15th. What Great America does is they take a night when it's dark, after hours, they open up the park just to high school seniors, and they let them come and just ride the rides all night. Okay? So imagine going to Six Flags with way less lines, just no little kids running around, just teenagers riding roller coasters in the dark. So what we'll do is we'll load up buses. So part of the payment and part of the cost is the transportation to the park, the ticket to get into the park, as well as we'll feed your children so that they're not out all night without any food. We only get 300 tickets, okay? There are 600 something seniors, 300 tickets. That is all Great America gives us. There's no way for us to get a bigger block. They have to make sure they have enough for each school and district. So once we're sold out, we're done. And I'm sorry. So this is one of those things that like when they go on sale, have your student like be paying attention to their email, because I know I send lots of emails to your students. Then inevitably I have to send it to all of you. And then you're like, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Edwards, I didn't do it. And I'm like, no, your student didn't do it, but we'll make it work. We'll sell tickets in the bookstore. They're hard physical tickets because that's what Great America wants. We'll have a little emergency form that'll be part of the purchase process that we'll send out to your students, basically sharing who do we call if they get really tired and we can't wake them up in the middle of Great America. And so they won't be given their tickets unless they show up with the money and their emergency form. All right. We usually get back around 4:30 in the morning in the North Lot. Please come get your children as soon as possible because we'll all be really sleepy and tired, and we got to wait till the last one's picked up, right? So we appreciate that. Any questions about that event? Yeah, go for it. The tickets, the exact date, I am not 100% sure, but it'll definitely be by April 1st. I would ideally like to do it before or as soon as we get back out of spring break. Here's what we're dealing with. We have to have Great America send us everything before we can even go down that road. So we'll definitely have them coming out of spring break, and I'd like to start as soon as possible. Everyone will get notified before tickets go on sale by email. I'll send it to parents too. I'm just going to be pestering your kids and you all with emails the whole month, so don't worry. The next thing coming up after that, and that's around the same weekend, it'll probably start on May 13th, is cap, gown, and I should have added yearbook pickup. So we're going to try to make it one-stop shopping for students. So you'll have your caps, your gowns, your tassels, your yearbooks, everything you need. We'll try to make it over a couple of different times and days so that students can pass through. So if I'm absent, if I miss something, if I got a big test, you got a game, you're on a field trip, whatever, you'll have a chance to pass through your students. And one of the things that I did email you about most recently was getting cap and gown sizes for your students. So we did that all the way back coming out of winter break. If for some reason you're in here and you know that you nor your student didn't fill out their cap and gown size, it's okay. We're going to let you go to graduation. We're going to give your kid a cap and gown. We got a lot of extras in a lot of different sizes for that very reason. We'll definitely do another pass through for the pronunciation because we want the readers at graduation to be able to say your names properly and the names that your students want to be called properly. So we'll do another pass through that. Two important things to know. Number one, the fees for the cap and gown have already been incorporated in your account. It'll show as a graduation fee. I think it's about $20. And then to pick up, so your student to pick up their cap and their gown in their yearbook and be done with us officially, they have to have done the senior survey or complete the FAFSA waiver if they have not already filed their FAFSA or don't plan to file. Okay. So that's really, really important. That's something that we need from them before they can walk out of here. Any questions about cap and gown pickup? Pretty straightforward. Love it. This one is probably the exciting school day. We have the senior tailgate as well, and it all happens on the last day of attendance, which is May 17th. So the senior tailgate is a school allowed, but not a school planned event. So students plan this event. Obviously, the basic rules apply. We'll set them up in the A-wing lot, which is that way, on the south end of the building. And we'll give them a row, and they can just bring breakfast, bagels, play music, whatever. 8:15, they start wrapping up. They got to be in school that last day. Okay? We'll just be out there to mingle and have a good time with the students. Any questions about that? All right. I'll let Dr. Collins take Senior Honors Night.
All right, Senior Honors Night. This will be selected students from various scholarships. It's not all of the scholarships that our students get. There's specific ones that we recognize. And for the most part, it's a lot of awards. So it's department award winners, Goodwill Award winners, other types of school award winners that we recognize that night too. So there'll be invitations coming up much closer to this. It's on the evening of May 18th in the auditorium. Essentially, you know, your student will be either in the audience or somewhere on stage, and then they'll have an opportunity to have their award presented to them. It's a nice photo opportunity for all of you as well if you're attending that evening. Senior breakfast. So the whole week, it's all senior week. So senior breakfast is the next day at 8 o'clock in the morning. So seniors hang out at the Avalon banquets and they eat bacon, eggs, hash browns, and they do a bunch of they have like a talent show, and it's like a whole thing. So it's really fun for us to go to and kind of hang out in the lobby, and all of a sudden someone was juggling one year, and then there was like a comedy act, and they have they put together their own little program. What's interesting is that I think a lot of students told me this is like the first time where it really hits them that it's over, because it's the first day that they wake up or the second day that they've woken up now with no school, right? And you know, you're seeing like some kids sat together with their elementary school friends, like at their elementary school table, like we were all in first grade together. We decided even regardless of who their friends were currently, I remember that from a couple of years back, they decided that they were going to sit together because they were all in first grade together. Like little things like that were happening that were just really cool to see. You know, all of the athletes get together, the band kids, our drama kids, thousands of pictures get taken on this day. So make sure they have charged phones that they use appropriately. But it's just a really great time. Tickets will be on sale on the 5-Star app. And we'll make sure that you get lots of communication about this coming up. We do want the students to dress up a little bit for this. So one notch above what they would typically wear during the school day would be nice. There are a lot of good opportunities for them to create some good memories. So it's a good thing. You want to talk about prom?
Yeah, prom. So
Woo!
Prom planning is well underway. Actually, I got a chance today to go with a group of students and our sponsor over to the venue, and we did a tasting. So anyone here who's married, it was literally the same thing. We tried a whole bunch of chicken dishes, and the kids picked exactly what they want to eat, including dessert as well. So it'll be Friday, May 20th from 6 to 11 p.m. We just broke down how the night works. We'll have a little reception, sit down dinner, and then they'll dance from 8 to 11. It is at the convention center down the street on River Road. If your students are taking any sort of transportation that you'll be paying for or be doing, please know that it is going to be a little bit of a process getting into the convention center. So leave early. There's parking. That's part of it. It's free if you have a student that's driving. There'll be no admittance after 7. So we have to make sure that everyone's in and accounted for. Tickets will be on sale from about April 11th to May 10th. For this and for breakfast, I need to say something very important because I just want everyone to understand, and I'll keep repeating it as we go. The reason the deadline for these 2 events is very, 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 very solid is because at some point we have to tell these venues how many kids are coming and how many meals we need. So when that deadline hits, the deadline hits. Okay? All right, I see nodding, so I feel like you hear me here. Will be $60 for prom. The theme is Starry Night. We'll have a spot on the 5-star app where students can indicate if it's vegan, if they need vegetarian, if they have any allergies, gluten-free, that kind of deal. Students of ours just need their 5-star ticket and their student ID, which will, their 5-star will just go through their phone, kind of like how we did homecoming. It's exactly the same. We will be allowing your students to bring guests. And we'll share details with that. But the biggest thing is that there's a guest form that has to be completed prior to purchasing the ticket for that individual so that we know who they are. We can verify with the school that they go to, but we can also make sure that we have their emergency contact information should anything happen while they're with us. And then, of course, all bags will be checked. I encourage students, don't bring any bags to prom if you don't have to. It'll just save you time. You'll get to walk straight in. We don't have to deal with anything. We don't have to worry about anything. So just something to throw out there. Any questions about prom before we go to the big one? It is a nicer, right? It's a formal event, so your students should dress up. I already have students who are talking about they got tuxes, they got their ball gowns. We have students who made gowns. So I'm really excited to see everyone dress up and be there. Sorry, I see your hand.
In the past, there was like a bus then that went down to the city for a road trip or something. So the night ends at 11.
So the question is there something school sanctioned, I presume, that will be happening as an after party? We are not here. Maine South is not sanctioning any after parties. That is a individual student decision, how they want to do that. And then the big one.
Okay, so there's a couple of wrong dates on here. Graduation is actually May 22nd. Yeah, you caught it. Yep. It's been a long few weeks here. Sorry. So prom is actually Friday, May 20th.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry about that. Graduation is Sunday, May 22nd. Okay. Sunday, May 22nd. I'll just keep saying it because it's going to be recorded and someone's going to say, you told me the wrong date. Sunday, May 22nd, 6:30 p.m. at Rosemont Theater. We're the 3rd school that day. Actually, let me just change this. This is going to drive me crazy. Oh, there we go. Somebody did. So that's going to be at Rosemont Theater at 6:30. Let me just tell you what happened 3 years ago. I come to work that day right about noon and just kind of get a bunch of stuff that I have to get done. And then I'm thinking to myself, all right, I got to be there at 5:30. I'll leave here. If you were leaving here to go to Rosemont Theater, what time would you leave? 5:15, right? Big mistake. All right. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, that was probably the first hour of my traffic stop. There's the anime convention going on all weekend. Maine East is finishing up their graduation, so they won't let anybody in until they clear out the lot. All right, so that just clogs it up. And then you've got the Sunday business traffic going on too. Plus there was like some big concert at that Toby Keith too, probably Toby Keith himself. It was nuts. So it took me an hour to get from this Circle Drive over to the Rosemont Theater. Please carpool. Like there's no reason, and gas costs $80,000 a gallon at this point. So if everybody could carpool, that would help significantly. Okay. Yeah, we'll hope that we've got really nice weather, but that day, the traffic is just really tough. And if you show up early, they're not going to let you in. So it's kind of the way it goes when you've got that large of a parking lot. I promise you will get in and be okay. I promise your students will be okay. We'll have directions for all that, but at least I don't want you thinking that it's a regular traffic day when you're leaving your home and trying to get to Rosemont Theater. All right. So plan on maybe having to circle a few times, swing through the circle at O'Hare. I don't know, go check out Franklin Park, do whatever you need to do. But eventually, once they open up the parking lots, it'll be much easier to get in. It's also, just so everybody knows, way easier to get in from the south than it is coming north and going southbound. If you're going northbound, it's a way easier way in. All right. I also know that some families park in the Rosemont lot and go get something to eat and then just walk over. They're geniuses. I don't know why I didn't do that last time, but that would be an easy thing to do as well. All right. You will get 6 tickets per family. So we'll have information that will all be out about that after spring break. In terms of the actual ceremony itself, it generally lasts about an hour and a half. We do recognize any of our students going into the armed services. So we are going to ask students to identify themselves coming up here. And it's just a kind of a thing that we've added since I've been the principal, just a way to kind of recognize the work that they would do. And they just have a great time, and you'll see all those caps go up, and then you'll be crying, and it's a good moment. But yeah, it's so I would say about an hour and a half each time. I think it's one of those nights where we just want to take our time, and I'm not trying to rush through the ceremony. Let's put it that way. We like a good, crisp, clean ceremony as we go, but once we get into the names, we really want you to have your moment. It's your most important thing walking across the stage. Okay. So a lot of planning and time goes into that. We will have information out for any interested students who want to speak. I'll have information that I'll directly email to all of your students. So again, like Mr. Edwards is saying, if your students have gotten all the way through high school and they haven't gotten into the habit of checking their email, unfortunately, some of our students are there. This would be a good moment for them to kind of just remind them, like, hey, emails are important. Like, you have to read them, moving forward. So we'll have a lot of information being sent directly to them. Okay. I also want to speak about the last week of school before I turn it over to Mrs. Morath about scholarships and things of that nature. This is not for any of you who have underclassmen. This is the week after graduation. So the last 2 days of school for underclassmen are going to be Monday and Tuesday. And then we have 3 days of makeup work for all of our students. We've just got a lot of things that we have to clean up at the end of this year, as we typically do, before Memorial Day weekend. And then our ELS program is still in attendance throughout the week as well. Okay. So there'll still be students in the building throughout the week. It'll just be a little bit more select. So those are the last 2 days that we would have for students. Before I turn it over to scholarships, are there any questions either on the chat or in the room about senior events? And then I'll repeat them here for the people online. Yes.
Sorry, are they locked in till 11 or can they leave early?
The question is, are they locked in prom to 11 or can they leave early?
They may leave early, but once they leave, they're done. Where you can't do any readmittance.
Yes.
Does the 6 tickets for family include the student?
Does the 6 tickets for family include the student? No. Student sits on stage.
There's a
Question on the chat if the graduation will be live streamed. I don't know exactly. I believe the answer is yes. So because of COVID, frankly, we've been able to all of a sudden kind of build this system for that. So WNTH does run our technical aspect of the graduation in accordance with the great people over at Rosemont Theater. They are pros. They're the best because they work with all of the big shows that come in. It's amazing having a real sound person. They make us look really good and sound really good at the ceremony. They're unbelievable. So that will be definitely something that I think will be live streamed. I'll get information about that. So that'll go up on the senior page either way so that you at least know. But if it will be live streamed, it'll be a link on YouTube that you can share with other friends and family. That's yeah, it's It's one of our security guards. He gets around the school fast on a scooter. What other questions can we answer? Anything else right now? We'll hang around here, and then if anybody's on the chat that wants to send any questions in, we're more than welcome. You're more than welcome to do that. But what we would say is just hang out until after spring break, and then we'll have a page that will go live on the website. We'll email all of you, and so you'll be able to get a lot more detail than we're even sharing now. Okay. And now I want to turn it over to our college admissions specialist, Robin Marath, and she's going to talk about everything going on with financial night and scholarships and all that
good
stuff.
Yep. There's lots of stuff to wrap up. I want to address the senior survey because there was a question on the chat. The senior survey is given to all seniors during advisory, and that will be the last Wednesday in April. I think it's April 27th. The reason we give the survey is we want to find out, we collect data in terms of where they plan to matriculate in the fall. If it's college grade, if they're going to trades, if they're doing a gap year, whatever. So it's self-reported data at this point. We do kind of verify that, but it takes about 6 to 8 months to get an actual report. So we use, for the students, the most important thing is they want their stuff put in Southward in the senior edition. I'm sorry. Yep. I'm sorry, everyone at home. So I'm going to try and stay still here. So the senior survey, April 27th, but that data is used in Southwards. So if they don't fill out the survey, number one, they're not going to get their cap and gown. And number two, they're not going to have their information in Southwards Senior Edition, which is a great keepsake to have. Some students don't want their information in Southwards. They don't want it published. And there is a place to put it on the survey saying, please keep this confidential. And then in that way, only my office, and really it's me, will see that data so that we can use that for the scattergrams with our career and college planning platform Schoolings. We're moving from Navient to Schoolings. So that's the senior survey. So they don't have to go anywhere. The senior survey is coming to them in the advisory, but it is really important. That's how we get the information about where they're going, okay? As your students are deciding on what their path is after high school, there are a couple events that we have coming up to kind of help them wrap things up and help hopefully you wrap things up as well. And the first thing is our financial aid night, which is next Tuesday. It is back to an in-person event. It will be held at Maine West. So typically we rotate among the 3 high schools in the district to make everything a little bit more fair. So 7 to 9 p.m. For the senior session, there is an overview session that's most appropriate for juniors, sophomores, and freshman families. There are upcoming changes to the FAFSA. So if you filed it and you're still having nightmares about it, it's supposed to be consolidated starting October 1st for the next cycle. If you're kind of done with that and you're like, I don't need to know any more about the FAFSA, there's a special session just for seniors on understanding your financial aid award letters. And in that session, they're able to meet with an ISAC rep one-on-one about their letters. And so we ask that you bring those financial aid offers with you so that the rep can see them. ISAC stands for the Illinois Student Assistance Commission. There are financial aid experts. We have a rep who is actually here at South every Monday. So if the Tuesday night event doesn't work in your schedule, students can always make appointments and you're welcome to come in too. He's here from 11:30 to 3. His name is Eduardo Baca. He's here every Monday with us, I think until about May 1st, okay? Tomorrow, your seniors are gonna get an advisory about understanding your financial aid award letters. So there's a lot of things that we're kind of trying to move in the conversation. I know in my office, which is right across from the library here across the Commons, students are starting to come in and saying, I need some help trying to make my final decision. And one of the main questions we're looking at is what that ROI, what that comparison of the financial aid award letters are if you filed the FAFSA. Okay. There are some online tools to help you. So if you cannot come to the night or you just kind of want to do things on your own, ISAC has a really nice online tool. So these slides will be made available, I believe, and this is, or you can just Google ISAC financial aid comparison worksheet, and you can put in several different colleges and it will show you what your prices are. Okay. Tomorrow's advisory lesson will post to the students' Google Classroom. There's a whole advisory section. So any past advisory. So if you're interested in looking at that, because I go a little bit more into detail, you can ask to see that because I post it at the time of advisory. So it will post to their Google Classroom tomorrow around 11 o'clock. If you did not file the FAFSA and you have no plans to, there is a waiver. So the Illinois State Board of Education has, this is now the second year where it's a graduation requirement to either file the FAFSA or fill out the waiver, just one or the other, not both. So this is, I have several copies that if you would like to pick up a physical copy, or it's on the students' Google Classroom and it has been there. The students will also be told about it tomorrow during the advisory. It's been in announcements in the Hawk Squawk, etc. But if this is the first time you're hearing it and you haven't filed the FAFSA, you don't necessarily need to file the FAFSA. You just need to complete the waiver. Chris?
How do you, I mean, we filed our FAFSA, but how does things up?
I know. I get a report. So every Monday, ISAC updates a report. So if you filed it, you're good. I already have you, I have you down. Nope. It's only if you didn't file the FAFSA. And we will start alerting those students. So 2 things with the cap and gown that Mr. Edwards mentioned before. It's the senior survey and it's the FAFSA. And I probably will be sitting there with Mr. Edwards to make sure that the students have done that. Yes.
So I understand the purpose of the waiver. Why is it a requirement to have the waiver or to file the FAFSA?
So ISB, the Illinois State Board of Education, put forth that in order to make college more accessible to all of our Illinois state residents, that they should file the FAFSA because there's a lot of students who think that college isn't accessible to them because they're not familiar with financial aid and the FAFSA process. And so, but you can waive your rights. We have some families who don't want to file it for whatever reason. So we're not forcing you to file it. You just need to say, I understand that we're non-participation. It's a non-participation form, in other words. Does that answer your question? I can't tell you why ISB is, I mean, we're just following orders from the state. Is there a question over here? No, okay. All right, so scholarships. So you might have gotten your financial aid award letters and you're looking at that, you're comparing the different opportunities to finance education. One thing that often goes overlooked under the radar are the scholarship opportunities that we have. We have several scholarship databases. There's the best one for our students to look at is the District 207 database. It's on their Google Classroom. You're going to hear me saying that a lot because everything is on their Google Classroom and has been. It's also on the CCRC website. This database is local, national scholarships, and you'll also see building specific scholarships. So anything open to Maine West is also on that database. Wouldn't be accessible to our South students if it's only for Maine West students, but we've kind of pooled our resources to create this database for our students. The flyer that you see on the right, these are highlighting just the South specific scholarships. So these would be examples of scholarships that we will honor at Senior Honors Night. We will not be honoring if you're, Marquette gave me a $15,000 a year scholarship. That's awesome, but we can't do that for everyone because we would never leave the auditorium because our kids are fabulous and they get a lot of scholarships. But these are our local scholarships, and specifically, so like Rotary Club, for example, there's the Scott Wade Memorial Foundation Scholarship. So several local ones, and then building specific. And I'm going to give a shout out. We have a couple representatives from our Maine South Parent Scholarship Club. Melanie Owens and Suzanne Stratman and Chris Pertel are here. It's a fabulous opportunity because it's multiple scholarships. So please encourage if you have seniors, and I should say these are senior only. So if you have a junior, sophomore, freshman, just keep this in mind for the years that it will pertain to you. I can't tell you enough, we do not have a deep pool, I would say, of scholarship candidates. We're always encouraging our students to look at these scholarships. I think sometimes they get to the point where they're like, I'm kind of done with the whole application thing, but there are new ones this year. We have about 4 or 5 new scholarships that families have generously donated money to our students. So please have them check it out. I will tell you, a lot of these are Google Forms. We kind of had to go that way in the pandemic, and it just kind of worked because it's convenient. They're only accessible for Maine 207 users. So that means your students. So if you try to go on it and the link doesn't work, it's probably because you're not a Maine 207 employee, okay? To maintain the integrity of the scholarship program, the students must be submitting their own applications, okay? And that's one way of doing it. You can see what those applications are and encourage them. And I think a really good thing would be to look together and see what those opportunities are and see who's eligible for what. And I'll say it again, we need more applications. April 1st and April 4th are 2 big deadlines. April 1st is the Friday after spring break. Coincidentally, it's April Fool's Day. It has nothing to do. It's just how it fell on the calendar. April 4th is a Monday. So please encourage your students, if they haven't started looking, they need to do that because a lot of these require letters of recommendation. They can reuse letters of recommendation from their college applications. That's totally fine. Reuse, recycle. However, if they never needed an a letter of recommendation and they need one now, they need to ask like tomorrow. We need to give our teachers at least 2 weeks notice to write these letters of recommendation, especially with spring break coming up. So asking on April 1st is not the same thing as all materials due. So please make sure your students understand that. We have tight turnaround times. The committees have to meet. You can see there's a lot of scholarships here. I coordinate all of them, and I have to make sure that all the committees have time to review the applications so that we can give names by May 1st, 2nd, something like that, for the senior honors program. Because then their certificates are made, programs are printed, all of that good stuff, and all keepsakes that we want for our students. Questions about scholarships? I know there's a lot of stuff there. Okay, one last thing, our job fair. So one of the first events that Dr. Collins spoke about was the Career Expo that's happening here this weekend. Laura Wilkins is our career coordinator. She's amazing. She's also in charge of the job and volunteer fair, which will be in the Commons on Wednesday, March 30th, which is after spring break. Everyone's hiring, but the great thing is they're going to be here at Maine South to talk to students. If you have underclassmen, there will be a volunteer fair. So it's a great opportunity to help start building those resumes if they haven't done so. Not a lot was going on with COVID. So this would be a great opportunity for them to meet with business partners in the community who are willing to work with our students. And then the job fair piece too. So if they're saying, I don't know where to find a job, send them to the job fair because everyone's hiring. We had a lot of work permits come through our office too. If you have a 15-year-old, they need a job before they get a work permit. So they need a letter of intent saying that they're going to be hired, and then we'll help them with the work permit piece. Okay. All right, I think that's all I have.
Okay, now that we've got all of the right dates, I'm just going to go really quick through this week so we're all on the same page, okay? So starting with Great America, they can go puke their guts out and ride the Raging Bull 15 times, all right, on that Saturday through the Sunday from the 14th to the 15th. And they have a cap and gown pickup the 13th, 16th, and 17th. Then the last day of school for seniors that they'll come in the building is Tuesday, May 17th, and that's when the senior tailgate for any students that want to do that can participate. Wednesday evening, May 18th, there's a senior honors night. There are also honors awards for fine arts and world language separately, but this is the school's sponsored event on Wednesday, May 18th. Thursday morning, May 19th, senior breakfast at the Avalon Banquets. Friday, May 20th. What is May 7th? Oh my gosh. I don't know. Whatever. May 20th is Starry Night. And then Sunday, May 22nd is graduation. Okay. So those are the senior events. It's normal and they're going to have a great time. I know they're excited. They still have a lot of high school left, so please tell them to do their homework. But I think we're excited to celebrate this class, and they've certainly been through a lot. All right. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and stop recording.